In this video, we will introduce convolutional neural networks as another special variant of neural network. As we will see, this type of model is best suited for finding spatial relationships in data. Most often, these are applied to analyze image data. Images can be a difficult data format to work with due to the lack of structure. So educational data is typically more structured than other application domains. Groups of students work on similar content. Significant research has been conducted to link measures of performance to learning constructs, and it's often the case that features in educational datasets hold a lot of meaning in describing how students are interacting with the learning content. Compare this then to images, where there is notably less structure to the data. As humans, we can look at an image and recognize the composite features and link those to recognize shapes and objects. Here, for example, we might recognize that the writing and shapes that are included in this particular image maybe correspond to some math content. But to a model, images are just really a collection of pixels. If we were to zoom in on this image, we can see that this image is really just made up of these small colored squares. Each pixel, or each colored square, offers very little information individually. Pixels really only have three features representing the amount of red, green, and blue that forms that particular pixel. And together, they form a single color that we can visualize. While other channels of pixels might exist, for example transparency, really each pixel is limited in the information that it's able to provide about the larger image. These pixel channels are all that the model has to work with if we were to try to predict something about or from that image. And even within this, there is a finite number of combinations that are supported across these channels. So again, there's a very limited amount of information that is supplied by a single pixel. In order for a model to draw any meaningful information from image data, it needs to be able to look across multiple pixels to build more meaningful features across the entire image. This then is what convolutional neural networks are designed to do. So convolutional neural networks are a special type of deep learning model which learns sets of features from spatial data. That is the positionality of data points within a particular data set. These types of models utilize two types of layers within the network. Convolutional layers learn sets of filters that can be applied across an image, while pooling layers attempt to use that information from the filters to identify composite features. In effect, convolutional networks, they work something like a template matching algorithm. So template matching is a more traditional image processing method which slides a template through an image to look for potential matches. So given this template of a 2, for example, the black 2 that we have here, or the white 2 on a black background, we can slide the templates through the image until eventually we find a location where it overlaps with something that looks like the template. We then end up with areas of the image that had high match values and other parts that had low match values. And this combination of high and low match values can be used as kind of additional features to inform maybe what that image is or how that might be useful for predicting some other task. So similarly, convolutional layers will use a sliding window of a specified size. And it might slide through the image like a weighted filter that when combined with a pooling layer effectively takes a weighted aggregate of what was seen by that filter. So as it slides through the image, this process continues over and over again until the entire image has been processed. And it's important to note that each convolutional node is effectively learning different filters to slide across the image. So again, it's just learning how to view that image, finding areas that might have interesting aspects to them, or could be used to construct features that cross multiple pixels based on their spatial relationship to each other. Since image processing is relatively unstructured compared to other forms of educational data, deeper networks are typically needed to learn meaningful features. So convolutional neural networks also allow us to visualize filters that are learned at each part of the network, something that is uniquely characteristic to this type of model. So from raw pixels, we could see that early layers might learn some abstract features that start to describe edges or very simple shapes that are then combined to recognize edges and other features that might start to appear a little bit more recognizable. So here we can see that maybe the model is learning how to recognize faces. And as we go deeper into the network, it's able to learn more complex features from the pixel information. So it's just combining more and more of those feature sets and learning how to combine them to best optimize or predict some dependent variable. Remember also that different layers of neural networks may be combined for specific tasks. So, for example, video analysis is another challenging yet common data format seen in education. If we think of video as a sequence of images, we can start to see how we might be able to combine convolutional neural network layers with recurrent neural network layers to conduct video analysis.